All right, so today we'll be making this layered arch, sort of like these steps add into our photography prop collection, and we could have it standing up or even lying down like this. All right, so let's see how we create this. We're going to start off with a plane. So let's press 7 for top view, and we're going to add Shift A and add a mesh plane. And let's tap into edit mode and scale it on the X like by 0.6. All right, and let me show you something before we continue. We are custom adding loop cuts by just hovering the mouse over the object and pressing Ctrl R. See that? Or here, Ctrl R. This happens because there are 4 edges and a face. And so the loop works on a quad. All right. But what now if it is, let's say I subdivide this edge here, right click, subdivide. So now you'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices and 5 edges as well. So it's not a quad. If I go to press Ctrl R, then you don't get a loop cut there. So you just end up be able to get a vertex to subdivide this, but not a loop cut. All right. So keep that in mind, and I'll tell you why I mentioned that. So let's press undo. Let's undo that. Let's remove that vertex. Right. So we have our quad back, and now we're going to press Ctrl B. Make sure that auto merge is enabled. Ctrl B, and then V to bevel the vertices. All right, and bevel it like about 12 segments. All right, this is good. All right, so let's collapse that. And this is what I was showing you. If I press Ctrl R, there wouldn't get any loop cut going across. So I could actually press, well, Ctrl R and just leave that vertex there and do the same thing on this side. Leave the vertex there, and I could select the two and press J. And that's how you're able to connect the two. Or I'll show you another way, as we will get to that later on. All right, let's create these steps. So we're going to press I. Let me go to top view once again. We're going to press I and then set it by 0.06. And let's just press Shift R to repeat that. Once, twice, 3 times. So we have 4 steps. All right, now press A to select everything. I'm going to press 3 for face select. What we're going to do, we're actually going to extrude in steps. So press 1 for front view so we could see what we're doing. And we're going to extrude it by about 3 blocks there. So press E and hold Ctrl 3. And now we want to reduce the selection. So press Ctrl minus. See that? And we're going to extrude it up again. So press 1 for front view and let's go again. E and hold Ctrl 1, 2, 3. And let's do it again. Ctrl minus E 1, 2, 3. Ctrl minus E 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And there we have our steps. Really simple. All right. So let me go to solid view and let's add a bevel to this. So add modifier, generate bevel modifier, and set it to 0.02 and segments of 1, or sorry, segment of 3 rather. Let me see, 0.01, maybe 0.002. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. All right, and instead of going here and add modifier, add subdivision, just press Ctrl 2. That's the shortcut to add the subdivision surface modifier with a level of 2. All right, and we could right click and shade smooth. Really nice. Now I want half of this. So let's press 7 for top view. And if I tab into edit mode, let's turn off the subdivision on this one. Actually, let's turn on the bevel. And if I press Ctrl R, I will only get a loop cut up to here. Ctrl R, left click up to here, but not going right across. And another one up to here, but not going right across. So there are a number of ways I could do that to get it across. Let me show you one nice way using the knife tool. So press 1 for vertex select, and let's make sure we are in X-ray. Alt A to deselect. So we're going to press K to invoke the knife tool, and we're going to click here. And we want to cut through the mesh. So we press C to cut through the mesh. So right now it's cutting both the top and the bottom. And press A to constrain it until we reach across here, and left click and press enter. All right, so if you look to the bottom, you notice that you see we have cut through the mesh. So even on the bottom, we have got that. All right. And now we could press Alt and left click and get that whole loop there. And the reason we did that is so that when we press 1 for vertex select, we could select these at the bottom here and press X, then delete vertices. Of course, it left a gap, so we could simply Alt left click and press F to fill that, right? And then 7 for top view, and let's move it up a bit. So Alt Z. So let's box select these vertices and we move it in the Y. So GY, let's move it up probably like about there. All right, Alt Z, enable subdiv. Right, and there we have it. And we could be able to RX90. We could stand it up, or we could lay down. But that is how we create this layered arch. So I'll see you in the next video.